100% you couldn't hypnotise me.
That makes it sound like I'm a entrepreneur.
Does it?
I might not be able to, I don't know, but we can give it a go. Sleep. It used to be the talent shows, speaking from experience, when it was real fun, it was when people were wanting to punch Simon Cowell. Oh my God, you've got to sort these people out. They've been nearly like punching Ant and Dec. And Simon Cowell slumped over his desk. There's paramedics there. I'll never get on BGT again.
Are we all victims of like covert hypnosis?
Absolutely. We are constantly hypnotised. Hypnosis is mind control. Contrary to popular belief, the dog doesn't have superpowers.
This episode is sponsored by Get Your Media, providing a straight-talking service for content creation. If you need a video or podcast studio in Leeds, visit getyourmedia.co.uk for more information. Are we ready? Yeah, cool. Are you on Latch? All right, cool. Krystyna Lennon, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Hello.
CBS called you the world's best hypnotist. How did you get that title?
They did. I have no idea. It was because they wanted me to go on a TV show called The World's Best. Yeah. So they looked for what they deemed as the world's best hypnotist, which obviously is me. So
have you ever been hypnotised before then?
Yeah, I've been hypnotised quite a few times. The first time was when I was about 8 months pregnant, ready to drop, and I knew I was having like a big baby, and I was absolutely terrified. So a friend of mine who was a stage hypnotist at the time said he'd hypnotise me. I was a bit sceptical as to how that would work, but he hypnotised me and I had a pain-free birth, so I was absolutely like sold on it from that point.
Oh, genuinely had a pain-free birth?
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't like, oh yes, didn't even notice it. It still was like, oh, but it wasn't unbearable.
Yeah,
I've, got 3 kids and that was probably the easiest. So yeah, it just blew my mind.
So you got hypnotised and then realised it worked, and then you went and pursued becoming a hypnotist?
Yeah, I mean, I was already like a psychotherapist, but when he did that, I'd never even really, heard of hypnosis. Well, I kind of heard of it, but didn't know much about it. So when he suggested that, I was like, okay. And since then, he then gave me a session to pass my test, which was insane. I'd driven illegally for 6 years and didn't remember how to, back in the day when you could, and didn't remember how to do anything properly. So he hypnotised me to remember everything like I was in my test, and it just blew my mind that as soon as I fastened my seatbelt, which was my trigger, that all of a sudden I was like looking over my shoulder. It's like, God, I hadn't done that for like 5 years.
Yeah. And
it was just automatic. So it was like, wow.
Would you then say that anybody can be hypnotised?
Pretty much, yeah. I'd say about 99% of people can be hypnotised. Well, I mean, 100% yes, can be hypnotised. I can probably hypnotise about 98%.
But I would say that there's probably more people watching this or listening to this that would say, I can't be hypnotised. They're skeptics.
I think where the idea that you can't be hypnotised comes from is stage shows. Basically, I'll get 15 people up on a stage and I will keep the best people. So I will start sending people back if they're not responding quick enough. Also, if they're boring. It's a show.
Yeah.
And if they're not engaging or entertaining, then I'm sending them back. So I think then people then think, oh, I can't be hypnotised because I couldn't be hypnotised on this.
You weren't hypnotised in the first 2 minutes, so it means you can't be hypnotised.
But everybody can be. You go in and out of a state of hypnosis every single day, multiple times a day.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that because when a lot of the stuff I've been doing with the Entrepreneur Forum, I talk about NLP and going to these events and the process that these guys use. To me, it seems if it's like a sort of covert hypnosis, like NLP is almost like programming you to respond in a certain way. Are we all victims of like covert hypnosis?
Absolutely. That's what I speak about. I'm a public speaker, and that my talk is about take back control. And it's about how we are constantly hypnotized. We go through a theta state. And the theta state is the most highly suggestible state. And we go through a theta state, which is a state of hypnosis, at least twice a day as we're sort of waking up on a morning and as we're going to sleep at night. But then, like when you're watching a movie and you're like, you sort of come round and your mouth's up and you're dribbling.
Yeah.
That was a theta state. When you're driving and you arrive at your destination, you wonder like how many kids you've run over on the way. That was a theta state.
Yeah.
We go in and out of those states multiple times a day. I think I live in theta state.
Yeah.
And that state is highly suggestible. So when I'm hypnotizing someone, I'm just talking them into that state that they go in and out of. The difference with NLP is they don't ask them to close their eyes. It's eyes awake hypnosis.
So so these people that are on stage there and they are telling people, you know, you can get rich quick, they are just programming them to basically open their wallets and rush to the back of the room too.
Yeah, that whole process is similar to what I do on stage, you know, like the no negative comments.
Yeah.
As soon as I get someone on stage that's like a bad apple, they're gone straight away, because they will affect or influence all the other people.
Yeah.
So if I've got somebody that's reacting really well and then they're sat next to somebody that's not, I'm going to get rid of the person that's not, because they will then slow the other person down.
Yeah.
So as soon as you get some good subjects, that's great. That hypnosis is more effective in a group. We all like to follow the crowd. We don't like to do things differently.
Yeah.
So once we see other people doing something, we just sort of kind of go along with it and we don't even know why.
Yeah. It's mad that you say that then. So in the sense then it's easier to almost hypnotize a huge number of people. So you'd think it'd be more difficult because there's more people around you. Someone might notice that, you know, this doesn't seem right or it doesn't. It's mad to think that you would actually be more susceptible to it in a huge group setting. Like say people voting. I can see, you know, how it could be used in like sort of politics and voting if people use the right messages.
If you think about being at a concert, you get sort of really excited just by the atmosphere. You get drawn along just by everyone else being buzzing, and you know, and people can put you in a good mood, you know, or people can put you in a bad mood. The people around us influence and affect us every single day. Yeah. And in, you know, as I say, on a stage, there's certain people that will carry the whole show and they'll influence everyone around them.
She went for me in that way, wrestling with her.
It's not only children she bites.
We're going to keep this in.
Fiddling with my dog.
Yeah. That was Hypnodog there. If you haven't heard that. We've got...
She's having her say.
Well, it's like taking the spotlight from you again. Like,
always.
The worst thing. Yeah, so Latch, one of Latch's famous stories was he told us he can eat WD-40. I don't know if you can. I mean, don't try it at home, by the way. I know. I had this idea that as a dog treat, he'd be giving the dog WD-40, saying, hey, anyone can eat this stuff. That's probably what's wrong with her now.
Yeah, please don't.
I think I'm too smart for these entrepreneurs. I've been to too many of these events and I know when they're trying it on and they're trying to get me to comply. So I think 100% you couldn't hypnotize me.
That makes it sound like I'm a entrepreneur.
Does it?
Yeah.
Did it? I'll start that again. But,
it's fine.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Your powers will fail against me.
Would you be up for the challenge?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I might not be able to. I don't know, but we can give it a go.
So we will cut there and we will see if I can be hypnotized.
So I'm just going to take you through a suggestibility test. So stand up, and I just want you to put your arms out in front of you. With your right hand, I want you to face it up towards the ceiling. In this hand, you've got an encyclopedia. Really focus on how heavy that encyclopedia is. And then in your other hand, imagine 100 helium balloons, and it's just starting to lift your arm. So heavy, really, really heavy. And the other arm just feels so light. Okay, just keep your arms where they are and just open your eyes. Can you see who's the most suggestible? Right, okay, I want your feet flat on the floor, hands in your lap, palms upwards. I'm just going to lift your arms and just see how relaxed you are. That's great, just very loose, very limp, very relaxed. And that's fine, it won't disturb you, just easy and effortlessly, just relax. 1, 2 and 3, sit straight up in your seat. Sit straight up in your seat, person I'm touching now, open your eyes, person I'm touching now. What's your name again?
Jack.
Jack, are you hypnotised?
Not sure.
Not sure. Look at me. Sleep deeper, deeper, deeper. Look at me. Sleep deeper, deeper. On the count of 3, you'll open your eyes. On the count of 3, you'll open your eyes. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. You alright?
Yeah.
Sit up straight. Look at me. Sleep deeper, deeper. Every breath you take. When I ask you your name, it's as though you've forgotten. It's just as though you've forgotten. On the count of 3, be wide awake. 1, 2, and 3. Wide awake, wide awake. What's your name?
Not sure. Jack.
Jack, sleep deeper, deeper. Every breath you take, every noise you hear will send you down deeper. When I ask you to fasten your shoelaces, you'll find that you've completely forgotten.
Yeah, I've got it just about.
I'll leave it there. Right. You can see he's like almost there. That was just a few minutes, but within a few minutes more, you would have just been completely. Do you feel awake?
Yeah, I feel awake.
When I woke you up and asked you your name.
I just didn't want to say my name, which is weird.
Yeah. It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sleep deeper.
No.
The Entrepreneur formula reminds me of the hypnotic induction formula. Did you see the similarities in the stuff that I put out on YouTube?
100%. If you remember, I commented, I think, on something that you put out and said that it's just mass hypnosis. I mean, it's different when you're working one-to-one with someone. It's very different than when you're working with a group.
Yeah.
Lots of people message me and say, I want you to hypnotize me to, do something crazy on my own. That's more difficult.
Yeah.
If I've got a big room of people, it's a lot easier. But the process is, because obviously, like I said before, in numbers, people get carried along with something.
Yeah.
It's like when you were a kid and your mum, you got into trouble for something. Why did you do that? Well, I don't know. Everyone else was doing it. And we, as adults, we're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Especially if someone's saying, oh my God, I made so much money, and we'll go with it. If I'm doing a show, it's all about atmosphere.
Yeah.
And even the audience will carry the people on stage along. So I will always move people right to the front. It's like watching a band, when a band starts and there's people scattered about, they want the atmosphere to build.
Yeah.
And that's what they're wanting. They're wanting that atmosphere and people to get carried away. And then what they'll start doing is the yes questions. Do you know what I mean? Do you want to be successful? Yes. And they're getting the yes answers.
Yeah.
So they're just priming their brains to buy constantly.
Yeah.
Throughout the day.
But these are just good salespeople, right? They're not, scrupulous people trying to get money off you. They're just good sales. Like, where's the line there? Because that's one of the biggest criticisms I get.
It's to do with ethics, really, isn't it? Everybody uses influence and hypnosis, but generally, as I say, it's ethical. Where does it cross the line? When people aren't given that cool off period, I think they are not giving you that. They're sort of like, if you sign up today, you get a discount. So they're kind of railroading you into making a decision when you're on that high.
I would say if the product was good and you genuinely thought your product would help other people, you wouldn't need to use the extra stuff. I think like some of the tactics are good sales tactics, but it's like when you sort of combine them with some of the less ethical ones, that's where the problem is in my mind.
Yeah.
I know it sounds mad and it's maybe a bit basic and black and white, goodies and baddies. And I know that life isn't like that. There's so many shades of grey and not all bad people are bad all the time. Some bad people do good stuff. But
well,
it is
inherently good.
but you know what I mean? Like, but everyone would say they're a good person, but everyone does bad things.
Yeah.
It's just human nature. And I don't necessarily think this is goodies and baddies. I've never ever said that. But it is lies, isn't it? It's like, if you're telling me that this offer is only available to 20 people and then you're going to sell it to 70 people because they've all got their wallet open, you are blatantly lying. If you have to lie in the sales process to get someone to buy, surely it's not a good thing. That's not a good salesperson.
No.
It's a fucking liar.
Yeah, exactly.
In my mind, isn't it?
Yeah. So many people will think of themselves as ethical and they want to do good, but then you're being offered money to do something like that, and you think, everyone else is doing it, why not?
Yeah. It's easy to get there.
Yeah.
It is easy to get there because, sometimes we're sat there and thinking, we're grinding trying to do this the right way, and then someone says, if you can just do this review on our product, our investment app or whatever. I've got one coming out with Nutmeg. It's 100% not associated with Nutmeg at all. I'm going to give my real results. It's not going to be it's going to be a bit brutal in some parts on it. And but I know some people will still say, you've got to deal with Nutmeg, that's why you're mentioning it. It's like, no, there's no affiliate links in there. We're not being paid by Nutmeg. And I've just tore it a new arsehole for the last 15 minutes in an advert. This is the worst advert for this. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, but it's mad how people even interpret that online.
But there'll be no publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah, I suppose that's it.
So even if you're tearing it, it's getting people, it's getting it out there still.
Yeah, well, we've seen that from some of our highest viewed content. Some of the stuff with the people that we wouldn't necessarily want to promote, they're the most viewed stuff anyway, because people want that sort of conflict or controversy is probably the right word.
Yeah.
And they want to see a bloodbath, don't they? Or
it's like it used to be the talent shows. If you look, speaking from experience, but if you look back at like X Factor or something or BGT, when it was real fun, it was when people were wanting to punch Simon Cowell and throw stuff at him and stuff like that. That was when it was real interesting. But now we can't be seen to do anything that might damage someone's mental health or put them in a bad light. So TV shows are sort of veering away from that. So there's probably some money in that.
I'll be the next. Do you remember that guy that worked in the chicken factory from X Factor? I don't remember that guy. We better cut him in because that's a brilliant clip.
I've worked at a chicken factory now, pick a chick, for about 2.5 years.
I think he did. What was it? Aqua. Hello, Barbie. Hi, Ken.
Yeah.
Hiya, Barbie. Hi, Ken. Do you want to go for a ride? Jump in. Jump in. I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. You can push my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination. Life is your creation. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Oh, I'm having so much fun.
Do you want to go for a ride? You know that guy?
Oh my God, with the terrible hair.
They were the best ones. Yeah. They had that girl in the red dress, the YMCA girl. They're the best ones, aren't they? It's too slick now. It's like anything online now. Everything's a bit too slick, isn't it? It's kind of lost all sort of
Again,
authenticity.
they've got their formula, and it is... there was a guy that exposed like all the talent shows for their formulas. Yeah. And I see it every time. I don't normally conform to their formula.
So when you got invited on then, how did that first happen with those sort of reality TV, which turns out isn't that real? It's like,
really? Yeah.
But so how did they first come across you and want you to come on?
I was doing a show at Liverpool Uni, and the media saw that I was doing a show with a dog that hypnotised people. So they did run a story on me, and BGT got in contact. But when they first got in contact, I hadn't successfully done it. I'd done a show at Oxford, Brooks Unit, and it was dire. Everybody kind of went to sleep. But when I woke them up and gave them a suggestion, I'd be like, you'll count to 10 and the number 7 will be missing, and they'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'd be like, oh my God. And it was awful. I put them all back to sleep, told them there was a technical fault. I'm probably can we cut this bit out? Because they're probably going to contact me and want the money back now. And I've spent it. I went off to Australia. But yeah, so I did this show at Oxford, and they, put everybody under. It didn't work. And there were technical problems, and I walked off stage. And that was the only show I'd done when BGT first asked me to go on. So I said no. And then they came back and they were like, we'll give you anything you need. And, because I kind of just said, oh no, 3-4 minutes is not long enough. I need like 20. And they just kept coming back to me. We'll give you a room. You'll this, that, the other. So in the end, I was like, right, okay, I'll do it after I'd actually done it successfully.
So even that, they might have been inviting you on there because they wanted it to fail and it'd look good for their ratings.
Yeah. The whole day was crazy. I came off stage, I was quite new to hypnosis, and I'd given people suggestions on stage, and I'd told one group of people that Ant and Dec would be naked.
Yeah.
And because I was quite inexperienced at the time, I didn't remove suggestion when they all walked off stage.
Oh, wow.
So after I got judged and everything, I came backstage and I was just like, oh my God, I just got 4 yeses. And my manager came running up to me and went, oh my God, you've got to sort these people out. They've been nearly like punching Ant and Dec, saying this is a kids' TV show. And Ant and Dec were like jumping up and down and like really winding them up.
Little and little Dec flopping about.
and it was just absolute chaos, and they were going mad.
Yeah.
So I was just about to go deal with that, and then someone else went, "We need to get you back on stage," and Simon Cowell's collapsed, and like the arse fell out of my world. I was like, "Oh my god, my insurance is not going to cover this." Do you know what I mean? And then she went, "Can you bring your dog?" I was like, "Okay." And I went back out, and Simon Cowell slumped over his desk, and there's paramedics there, the security. It was just like, wow. And I went down and carried him out. But I mean, was that a publicity stunt? Did that fit the storyboard?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Everyone's like, was it real? I don't know.
Well, even then, I was like, I was buying into. Oh wow, that's fucking mad.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's happened. It's the dog thing. I'm giving you these secrets that press have offered me money for. But the dog thing is their belief. They believe it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's the same with an entrepreneur. If they have to make these people believe that this is the solution to their problems. Once you believe something, it's like magic.
Yeah.
I once walked into a venue where I was doing a show, and I hadn't even started, walked in with the dog. A woman was sat eating crisps, turned round, and she's sparked on the floor. She just looked at the dog. I hadn't even started the show, done nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And contrary to popular belief, the dog doesn't have superpowers. She's just a regular dog that likes to stare at people eating. Do you know what I mean? But they believe. I have to make them believe.
So you're saying they just have to believe, and then they actually go and she's behaved in the way that you want it to behave then. So really, and I'm now, you've convinced me, if I've been hypnotized, I've gone full circle on the entrepreneur. If they make you believe so much that you are going to be successful, are you more likely to be successful than going to these entrepreneur events and buying their course and really believing in it and following through?
You're more likely, yes, you are more likely to be successful.
But that's not because of their course, would you say? Is that just because you believe in yourself now?
Yeah. I mean, that's my work. That's what I do with my clients. I make them believe in what they're doing. Yeah. Because without belief, there's just no point. But it is the magic.
But there's something on that. Like you could make me believe I could run a marathon in less than 2 hours. But I'm not actually going to be able to run a marathon in less than 2 hours unless I do all the other stuff that I need to do: train, eat right, have some sort of natural level of ability.
Yeah,
surely.
I mean, I can't make you.
Otherwise, at the Olympics, they'd just be going, right, I'm going to hypnotise you. You're going to run 100 metres in 8 seconds. You're going to run 100 metres in 7.8 seconds.
Yeah.
You've heard his hypnotist say, you just do that, wouldn't you?
It's got to be within the realms of possibility.
Your skill set, would you say then, in that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I aren't running a marathon. Do you know what I mean? I aren't running one full stop. I'd be crippled. No way, it's not happening. But if I get somebody that's pretty fit, that's almost there, I can improve them massively.
Yeah.
You know? I can give them the best shot at running a marathon.
It's effectively mind control then. You're getting in someone's mind and telling them they can achieve or do something that they might not necessarily believe themselves. Yeah,
I mean, hypnotists go crazy when I say this, but hypnosis is mind control.
Yeah.
100% mind control. Eye control. But it's like a hammer, a hammer can be used in a good way.
Yeah.
Or it can be used if you give it to a psychopath. Do you know what I mean? And hypnosis is the same. I can use hypnosis to make somebody really successful, to, make them more productive, more focused, more motivated, to, remove their limiting beliefs. I can also absolutely make you a wreck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hypnosis is super, super powerful influence-wise. And results can be positive or negative, and that's why you have to be really careful with your mind. People just constantly telling you something, like when you were a kid, and if your mum was always like, oh, you're clumsy, whatever, you start to believe, oh, I'm clumsy, it's just the way I am. And that's the weakest statement I ever hear. Well, it's just the way I am. No, I don't need to be.
I saw Darren Brown on a little-known podcast, the Joe Rogan podcast. He was saying that he was once confronted by someone in the street, and he sort of confused him. Like, your mind's programmed to for certain reactions. So when you meet someone, you shake hands, or you ask a certain question, you get a certain response. And he said one of the easiest ways to sort of is to disrupt that thought process. So he would talk about like what color the wall was, or how tall the wall was outside the house. And so a guy came up to him dead aggressive. He said, no, the walls aren't 4 foot outside of my house, or something along those lines. Confused the guy, then turns his hand towards him and then put him out straight away. How could he do that so quickly? It's
once, I said the daydream state.
Yeah.
What happens is when your mind goes off to your like you haven't got a subconscious mind and a conscious mind, it's just a state. But I can tell when your mind goes there because you look up. Yeah. And you're accessing memories or whatever. So you'll look up. Once you go there, you're really suggestible. So, I mean, if I said to you, did you walk here or did you bring a packed lunch?
Yeah.
It's like, you cause confusion.
Like confusion, yeah.
And then immediately after that, you are highly suggestible because your brain is somewhere thinking about something else.
Yeah.
So that's when I can then give you a suggestion. So I could say something like that and then sign here. And it's like, oh, okay. It's because your brain's just not functioning properly at that moment.
So he said he thought about making the guy's feet, I think his feet were stuck to the floor, and he was just going to get up and leave him there because he'd obviously tried to have a fight with him. But he didn't. So have you ever used hypnosis for anything bad?
For anything bad? I once... My ex-manager, Neil Swift, if he's watching, he'll probably watch it. We were talking about this guy that had got out of a parking ticket, and basically it's on YouTube. It's quite a popular video, and the guy uses hypnosis or that distraction technique to get out of a speeding ticket. And I once made my manager do it with McDonald's, the free vouchers. Yeah. I was telling him about it and he was like, does it work? I was like, look, take this empty McDonald's token thing up and just tell them it's full, but say something to distract them. And I gave him the instructions. You need to say it's full confidently 3 times, but distract them at the same time. And she sort of looked at it and just put it in the till, closed it and gave him his drink. Yeah. And like he walked away like, oh my fucking God, and it was like, and I've used it, silly things. I once did.
Oh, you went to bookies after?
Yeah.
Another winner?
Yeah, it's a winner.
1,000 to 1 again.
Yeah, I think that might get verified and double checked. But I've used it on little things. I was once pulled for a dodgy light and I got out of the car, and as the policeman came up, I was like, oh my God, I'm lost. I'm trying to get back to Leeds. Can you tell me? And he was like, well, you go this way. And I was like, okay, thanks. And he went, I was just stopping. Yeah, no, my light. What is it again? Left, right? And just distracted him. Yeah. So he was like, oh, and I just got back in the car and drove. And I was like, can I go? He was like, yes. And I mean, that's how magic works, isn't it? People do something, distract you, and you're looking in the wrong place or whatever. But yeah, it's just using confusion so someone's not really focusing on what's going on.
Yeah.
And you can get away with all sorts by doing that.
I'm into conspiracy theories. I don't think we went to the moon, and I think the Queen's a lizard. That's not true, by the way. I don't believe them all, before we start saying.
Right.
But is there any sort of conspiracy theories around hypnosis and stuff where you could hypnotize someone to become an assassin or a murderer and stuff like that?
There was... I don't know whether it's true, obviously, but there was rumours that JFK was shot by somebody that was hypnotised.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I mean, Derren Brown has done experiments where he's like used the formula to make sure somebody, first of all, qualifies. They then start to, like with a stage hypnosis show, you start with something small. So at first, you're just getting them to move, just a normal movement. That's not really like anything that you'd sort of refuse to do. Then you get them to laugh, then you get them to stop laughing, then you get them to close their eyes, get them to open their eyes, and you build up. So by the end of the show, I get them doing outrageous stuff that they wouldn't have just come up and done that straight away.
Yeah.
So you can get people to progressively do more and more. The more power you have over somebody. And, you know, look at cults, look at ISIS and stuff. They take vulnerable people, get them to do small stuff until they're doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just normal life for them.
I always think that with how people get involved in certain things, and you sometimes think, how did it get to this stage? But when you look back, there's like almost like a thin end of a wedge almost, isn't it? It started off with little things, and then before you know it, they're probably in deeper than what they expected to be. Further than what they expected to be.
Yeah. It's like, look at like abusive relationships. It starts with a move that. Yeah. And no, the other person doesn't go, pardon, don't speak to me like that. They just accept it. So the next time they can throw something as well. Yeah. And then and it just progresses and progresses until before they know it, they're just controlled. Yeah. And I mean, that's what I do in a stage show. Start with something small, control them, get rid of anybody that's not going along with it.
How long does it last for then? So like, say if, you know, could I snap out of it myself? Are you in a constant state of hypnosis? If you don't bring someone round and take out, say if it was a trigger, like word or, you know, snap your fingers or whatever, does that mean 15 years later you can just snap your fingers and then they're straight to sleep? Or does it wear off? Does it lose its impact? Do you need to be re-hypnotized?
It depends on so many different factors. Like my daughter's 27 and because she's been hypnotized since she was a baby, like I started learning when she was small. So instead of like practicing on other people, instead of reading them a nighttime story, I used to do hypnosis with them going to bed.
To make her sleep?
Just like it was for me to practice. But then I just used to hypnotize them for everything, for races, everything, you know. Oh, wow. Like as kids. And now I just walk up to her and I'll go, Leah, look at me. And then I'll just go click and she'll bang down. What actually happens is I go, Leah, look at me. And she just runs.
Honestly, I wish she could come and sort my daughter out. Yeah. She's a nightmare. Do you know, this morning I actually told her I was going to phone the naughty girls' school to see if they've got a space for her. That was the last thing I said to her when I went to school today. Genuinely said that.
You can't just go up to a lay person or somebody that's never been hypnotized and do that. There needs to be that, you know.
Because he's mentioned ISIS, I wonder if there was like certain, we might have to cut this bit out, but like, as in there's certain people don't realise they've been hypnotised by that, and they could be as part of a cell, and then when a certain trigger word's said on the radio or in the media or on TV, then they would act how they've been programmed to. And that'd be an easy way to, because then they've not got a cover story because they don't even realise they've got this implanted in them. Yeah. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories.
Whole new podcast. You have to cross that.
Do actually companies consult hypnotherapists? Or
I don't know whether they consult hypnotherapists. They'll probably consult psychologists. I mean, a lot of psychologists know how your brain works and will know a fair bit about hypnosis.
I can see how it could be used on social media. Facebook putting certain news things in your feed. Do you think it's going on today on social media to influence people in their everyday lives to vote and behave in a particular way?
100%. I mean, we've got Trump for a start. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's there's politicians, marketing companies, the media, you know, they create mass hysteria about things. They control our minds. They can breed hate, or, you know, they really do control our minds. I stopped reading newspapers and watching the news years ago because it's like, right, I need to take control of my mind. I need to think about what I want to think about and make my own decisions.
Yeah. If it is a sort of form of mind control, then is there anything that we can do, like people listening to this or watching this, like, you know, what have you got any sort of tips, or is there anything they should be aware of? How can they protect themselves, or if they can't protect themselves fully, become more aware of when it's happening? How could they do that?
I mean, it's so difficult these days. My phone tends to know where I'm going all the time. I'll finish the gym and it'll say, you know, it's 15 minutes to potting shed, and I'm like, oh my god, it's telling me to go, you know, out to eat. And you have a discussion about something, and the next minute there's an advert on your phone. You've never searched for it. So it's like your phone's constantly listening to you now, and it's showing you things you want. So it's really controlling, you know. It's like having a chip in your head, isn't it? Because you're constantly attached to your phone.
Right, so normally I end with questions from LinkedIn, and there was loads for you, so we'll probably edit most of them out because, you know, you do get some shite-ass online, as you well know from social media comments.
Oh, yes.
So I've got one here from Ben Andrew, who is a business development manager at VLS. Could or should we class targeted marketing to the extent of the Cambridge Analytica stuff? Do you know that? Cambridge Analytica stuff in? No. Oh, it doesn't matter then. So I've got a question from Jonathan Walsh. What is the best defense against hypnotism from the content we are surrounded by, such as news, adverts and social media? How do we guard ourselves against it?
There is no actual guarding from it, to be honest. I mean, I switch adverts off or I mute adverts. If somebody is, you have to accept something into your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
So if somebody's saying something that you don't want to affect you, this is what I teach my clients. So like maybe you're a business person and you go see your gran and she's like, oh, you don't want to do that. You need to, and you leave like, oh God, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So instead of, some coaches sort of say, oh, you can't associate with these people. Bullshit. You're not going to get rid of your gran. Do you know what I mean? So instead, in your mind, you just say delete, delete, delete.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Don't let that content access your mind.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing something that you don't want to be hearing, delete, delete, delete.
Yeah.
If you can't switch it off or get rid of it. Yeah. So it just won't be taken on board as a suggestion.
I like that one. So really just being more aware of it or more conscious of it is probably the best form of defense. Like to be aware that you can't defend against it fully. So
I mean, we're being influenced every single day, all day. So you can't, but choose who you're being influenced by.
Yeah.
Is really important.
Choose your influences. So if you don't like this stuff, stop watching it. You're your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Right?
You've hypnotized them all now.
So I've got Lorraine Kovac. She said, if you could go back in time and hypnotize one person that you've met personally or other like famous historical figure, who would it be? And then she's got loads of suggestions.
So she's already answered it for me.
No, but like it just for people ranging from Anne Frank to your ex-boyfriend to Paul Gascoigne. I don't know why she's got them three together,
Paul
but
Gascoigne.
I don't know.
That's a weird one, isn't it?
I don't sit next to him on a train. That's all I'm going to say. Current affairs. So you won't know that because you don't read the newspapers. That won't make sense to you. So go back in history and you can hypnotise one person. Who would it be?
It would probably, because my dad was involved in the Rising of Warsaw, so it'd probably be Hitler. But he used mass hypnosis, didn't he? So I'd have my job, I'd have my work cut out there to hypnotise him to stop hypnotising everybody else.
So that was your granddad was involved in that?
My dad.
Your dad?
My dad,
oh, wow.
he was in the Rising of Warsaw. Yeah, he fed people underground and escaped. Yeah.
So it's nothing to do with Lorraine's question. So is that why you come to the UK?
Well, I was born in Leeds, but he came with the army.
That's interesting. Really interesting. Yeah. So I've got... do you hate looking to my eyes? Looking to my eyes? Not around the eyes, looking to my eyes? Is that the most annoying thing ever?
Yeah. I mean, that or, don't look at the dog. It's, usual.
That was Gary Stevens. Very mature, Gary. I've got from Taylor Niall. He says, do you think they should teach media and critical thinking in schools so children were more aware of the influences from advertising, social media and stuff like that?
Massively, yeah. I think it would be beneficial for children to learn how to program their own brain.
Yeah.
Rather than, and I mean, most adults don't know how to program their own brain. And so many adults are programming their brain incorrectly. Creating anxieties, depressions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We create that ourselves with erroneous thinking. So I think it'd be really beneficial to go into schools and teach them how to program the mind. And that is going on to a degree. Mindfulness is hypnosis without suggestion. It's exactly the same. It just, you can't go into school and go, right, we're going to hypnotise all the kids today.
They do a meditation at my son's school now.
Yeah.
Once a week, they actually do meditation. My lad actually fell asleep last week and he said he really liked it and he's asked the...
And he woke up and what? Yeah.
In the headmaster? No. We'll cut that out. No, so they've started doing so it's someone from outside, it's not one of the teachers that comes in at night. Because a lot of kids are getting stressed in school now. But I was thinking if they taught that in school, surely... Because I've got, the conspiracy theory side of me says that we are just taught to be good workers in school. Like that's what the whole education system is set up to do. They wouldn't want us to think critically because then we wouldn't necessarily fall for that trap that we have to go to university and that, we need 5 GCSEs that are English, science and maths.
I mean, they'd be setting themselves up for for a bit of a catastrophe.
It's a bit broken, isn't it, that system, in terms of how we teach and how we learn anyway at school.
Yeah.
Because we don't learn that in everyday life, do we?
I haven't got the answers. That's too much of a big question. But yeah, it's, critical thinking it causes people to rebel against the system.
Yeah.
So do we want that?
And,
no.
And then also, no one
conform.
likes that, do they? No one likes that.
No, especially not people in power. They want people to conform.
Yeah. It's the illusion of choice. That's what I think the government wants us to.
Yeah. It's like when you're dealing with a naughty child or a child that's spirited or whatever. You sort of give them two options. Do you know what I mean? It's like they want to do that, but you give them, well, do you want to do this or this? And
wooden spoon or the belt.
Yeah, it makes them think that they are in control when they're not.
Yeah. I've got one more. Mm-hmm. Have you ever hypnotized someone you had a crush on? And if so, did you abuse this power?
No. That's really boring, isn't it? Shall I make something up?
Make it up,
I am so ethical that I've never used hypnosis. Basically, if I'm hypnotizing you, you're paying me.
Yeah.
I don't generally do it for free, and I definitely don't do it against people's will because I know the power.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And what would the fun be knowing that you've kind of like force somebody to do something?
Yeah.
You'd want them to want you for you, not, but God, stage hypnotists in the 80s, they were doing it all the time, weren't they?
It's I was going to say that you must get loads and loads of messages on social media asking people. I was going to be polite. Yeah, asking you to help them. And then I can imagine the type of person. Yeah, but I can imagine the type of person that would message you would then almost be annoyed that you wanted to charge, for that service when that's your actual job. Why would you do it for free? For someone you don't know either. I don't get it.
I do generally help a couple of people a month.
Yeah.
I set out, and if somebody comes to me and I see that they are in desperate need, and I might choose to either discount or give them it free. I very rarely give it free because they don't value what you've done for them.
Yeah.
So I always make them pay, even if it was a £5, I'd make them pay something so they valued it. But yeah, I've had instances where, because I treat anxiety and I've got like a 98% success rate, which is better than most doctors and medicine. And people will contact me and want me to treat them free. It's like, oh, you're just a scammer because you're charging for something I can get free at the doctors. Well, go to the doctors then. I provide a private service.
Yeah.
And what I do works. You don't have to take medication.
Sometimes the logic with that argument that they've got, if you turned up to their job and I don't know, they make iron
Give me that
gates.
McDonald's free.
like they would say, no, that's a ridiculous suggestion. So why would you be any different?
Yeah.
I get I get messages from people that have been scammed by entrepreneurs and they want me to go and get their money back. Bearing in mind, I don't know who they are. They'd never spoke to me before.
Yeah.
And I don't even know the person they're talking about. Yeah. And when I say, I find it interesting that you think I can do this for you, and I would find time to be able to pursue, your claim through the Atlanta courts against an American entrepreneur I've never heard of before. They then get angry at me, as if, I'm the weird one for not helping them or not being excited to get these messages.
Because you're flying the flag for, us normal people that are being controlled by these people. So in that way, they see you as somebody that should be able to do that.
Yeah, some of them get really aggressive though. And it's like, but I'm not a solicitor. I'm not a lawyer. You're now telling me there's you and 15 other people that have been scammed. Why don't you just work together between yourselves, pool your resources and go and fight this person that you don't like? I don't even know the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Or know the lady or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's lots of crazy people out there. I've had people wanting to kill my dog because it's black and
really
it's got
that's Daily Mail comments then, isn't it? It's got to be Daily Mail.
That is, yeah. I've had the most crazy stuff, and then I somebody got through the net and managed to book a consultation with me, and he wanted me to use hypnosis to control him. In a special way.
In a sexual way.
Yeah, and it was weird, the conversation. You're like, is this going where I think it's going? But you can't say anything because then you'd be the weirdo, Yeah. And it just sort of it's like, oh, wow.
Did the Lycra underpants there? That was the warning sign when you only turn up in Lycra underpants.
I won't tell you whether they are now clean. No.
And the last thing is, only 15% of people listen to the end of a podcast. So have you got a message for the 15 that stay to the end?
Good for you.
There you go.
No, that's crap.
We done?
Look at me. Sleep.